The traditional travel experience is one that's filled with inconvenience and inconsistencies. We've all been there. We've all traveled plenty of times and experienced this, what is seemingly one long, endless line throughout the travel experience that is filled with multiple touch points, each having their own process and their own level of service. Lots of variety going on during the travel experience. But what if that could all change by simply enhancing the tools that the service agents have at their disposal? Certainly, this would make things much faster, much easier, but also improve the overall travel experience for those on the road. That's exactly what we'll be talking about on this episode of Anyline, Anytime. It's a great one. You'll want to stick around. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Anyline, Anytime. My name is Mark Babin. Great to have you on this episode. It is one that is very exciting. You're definitely going to want to stick through the length of it. A lot of great topics being discussed today. As you'll know from that introduction, today we're talking about the traveler journey, something that I think we're all familiar with, maybe not in this last year, but certainly over our lifetimes and certainly looking forward to more in the future. But the journey is something that we're all very familiar with. Specifically in this discussion, we're going to be looking at those processes and those moments where passenger data is collected for a variety of services. Joining me for this discussion is Adam from Global Blue. He is the service delivery manager and longtime partners of Anyline. Global Blue has been great partners with their tax-free shopping application and, of course, their success story, which we'll be talking about a little bit as well during this conversation. Adam, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to see you. Can't wait to pick your brain a little bit on this subject today. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Mark. I'm really happy to be here with you. I'm looking forward to talking about a Global Blue experience working with Anyline and the traveler experience and also merchant experience that they have with our product thanks to Anyline.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of different touch points, which we're going to get into, and it's exciting. The success story is one we've had for a number of years, as I mentioned, and it is very exciting. But perhaps where I wanted to start today is by looking at that use case that we established with Global Blue over the past number of years that I alluded to in that introduction. Now, when it comes to the traveler journey, would you be able to fill us in on the challenges that you had originally aimed to solve with this solution and why that was so important for your organization to do?
Yeah, of course, I'll be very happy to do that. Maybe to give you a little bit of the history of Global Blue and the tax-free shopping. We started more than 40 years ago providing the tax-free shopping service. And back then, it was purely paper-based process where a traveler visiting foreign countries could claim the tax return on their purchases by requesting a paper form from the merchants. This process was really cumbersome and of course, nobody likes to stay at the merchant filling in a lot of forms. Digitalization came to the aid of merchants and travelers, and over the years, this has become much more digitized process. Right now, we are no longer focusing on the paper processes, and we're using integrated systems. We're providing the digital solutions for merchants to issue the tax-free forms in that way, enhancing the experience of the traveler and the merchant by making the process as seamless as possible.
Absolutely. And so coming off of that, I guess with the learnings that you've had, now obviously you've gone through this the past number of years, as you mentioned, and now that obviously your experience and your learnings have grown over the past number of years, what are the key takeaways that you currently have with the traveler experience overall?
So the primary reason why we work with Anyline is to introduce a solution for merchant that would enhance the experience for the traveler and merchant at the moment of the data collection. It's very important to make this process as convenient for everybody as possible. We're using Anyline libraries for the optical character recognition, so for scanning documents and passports. And basically, this is for the capturing of the documents that is required for our tax-free process. What we found very well, we received a very positive feedback from both merchants and the travelers. They are very happy with the experience. Process is quite seamless, and the technology is in demand. We're rolling it out gradually, so this is something that merchants are looking forward to using this technology. It has quite a few advantages because it's at this point independent of the merchant's platform. We integrate it into our own product, so whenever a merchant can use our issuing solution, then they can also have the benefit of using the document scanning, and they do not need to have the additional devices that were traditionally used for this purpose. You can imagine your traditional passport swiping card reader things, which well, one problem is that it's a device that is only a single function, takes space, which often is the problem. And merchants these days prefer to have a more modern solutions. Everybody has the mobile phone, everybody has a camera available, and we're utilizing this technology with integration to our solutions to capture this data as efficiently as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that everyone has access to these devices, as you mentioned, makes it one less barrier for a lot of the vendors, which I love. And I think that is very representative of where the industry is going. I also wanted to address on this point as well. Now, having gone through the process as you did, certainly there were some unexpected challenges or perhaps opportunities that came to light uh, during your experience and during your various integrations. I'd be curious what some of those are, if you have any.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The one thing that we definitely experience is the diversity of documents that we had to handle. I mean, we're servicing travelers from all around the world, so you can imagine the variance of the documents that we would normally have to deal with. Sometimes there would also be copies of the documents, and we're talking here about passports as well as the national IDs. We aim to process all the documents that are allowed for tax-free shopping, and the one of the challenges was to be able to actually use all those documents with the scanning solution that we've implemented. We've had actually pretty good experience with expanding the range. So right now, more and more document types are being covered. Not only passports and ID cards, we're also expanding it to some other documents, and it's also great that we can work with documents in so many languages. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be probably, like you said, one of the biggest challenges to overcome because you can plan for as many as you think, but once you put it out into the market, of course, you're leaving it up to fate more or less to see what comes across. And the last thing you want, I would assume, is something to not work. It would not be a good impression for the vendor. So I guess having that expectation going forward must be a huge asset.
Yes, absolutely. So we're quite satisfied the with how well it works. Actually, we have, after the years of working with Anyline, we have quite a increased level of confidence. At that point, we not only rolled out this technology for the issuing solutions, which are primarily operated by the merchants, but we are more comfortable giving some access to this technology also to the travelers themselves. So one use case that we have is at the validation kiosks. So whenever traveler is leaving the country, they do need to obtain validation from the customs. For several countries, we provide the digital validation solutions, and in the self-service kiosks, we provide the possibility to scan the passport using also the Anyline libraries. So it works pretty well, and we are very happy extending our range of the use cases. That's just one example there. Another is capturing the data at the refund points. So we're putting it wherever we do need to capture the document information. It's very convenient. Uh, what we found, I think it's the sign of times, and
Mhm.
actually became great advantage for us. I think everybody is these days mentioning COVID. For us, it's a very convenient part of the process that this is basically contactless process right now. we do not need to request the traveler to hand over the document to the merchant or to the customs officer. This can be scanned with the device that has a camera. So it has a added value, providing a feeling of security to the travelers who really do care about the safety in these days. Yeah.
I love that point that it's not only of benefit to the vendors, of course, that you're dealing with directly, but looking at that travel experience overall. I mean, every vendor wants to make the travel experience better for their customers. And so the fact that you can affect both of those with a single solution, I think is great. And it really kind of future proofs it for the next generation, especially looking at the last year and all the challenges that came around COVID. To already have a contactless solution in place, I mean, it certainly would have saved a lot of these vendors significant investment and worry on their side, which I think is wonderful to say. So yeah, like I said, I think it really establishes the fact that you have a strong base. You've gained that confidence that the solution works very, very well. Otherwise, you wouldn't be expanding it into other use cases, as you mentioned, and contributing to that overall traveler journey and that experience, which is the end goal for everyone. So knowing that, what's next for Global Blue? Where do you continue to grow the solution? Is it looking at different use cases, like you said, or is there perhaps a solution down the road on the roadmap that is maybe a little bit closer to the individual traveler?
So we're definitely planning to expand the offering of the service in the traditional channels that we would do so far, rolling out for more and more merchants. We would like them to be comfortable using this technology with any issuing solution that we can provide them. But we also look into the possibility of using the technology in other use cases. And Global Blue is now rolling out the solutions that are more directed towards the traveler. And we are going to give this technology directly to the hands of the traveler, where they will be able to scan their own document using the mobile phones in order to capture the document data for the tax-free shopping transaction. We see it as a great benefit in comparison to manual entry. It can often be the case that you make a typo. Even at the merchant, this is quite likely, because merchant is very much interested in speeding up the process. So capturing this information digitally is a fantastic way of error proofing, as well as gives a certain layer of security. So we know that this information is captured in a way that we can verify it, certainly. So when it comes to the offering that the products that we are more directed towards the traveler, we are also looking into the solution that will provide the identity verification for the traveler. We would like to be bringing more products to the market that will allow merchants to be a little bit, let's say, less involved into the process of issuing, still connected to it, but we would like to give more control of the process to the traveler, so that they can actually complete the steps of issuing by themselves using their device and at their convenience. And we are looking into possibility to integrate a solution for the identity verification with Anyline. So the facial recognition systems, this is something that we still, let's say, a project in progress. But I think we have quite some good experience, positive experience working with you. So we are quite confident looking into this direction.
Well, that's great to hear. And I know the team certainly is pushing the boundaries of what can be done at this point as far as the development. And that sounds like it's aiding you really well. I really like the points as well that you mentioned, the increased security, but then bringing the solution to the traveler, I think is a huge step forward, because it's going to eliminate a lot of that manual entry that they have to do themselves. And we know passengers are running around the place all the time. You mentioned the errors that vendors make, because obviously their process is based on speed and throughput, but the travelers are often filling in things while they're running down the hallways. I mean, how often have you seen that in a travel experience, where they're trying to write on someone's back while walking down so they don't miss their flight, or or their connection or something like that. So to be able to have it mobile and not have to enter anything manually, I think that has a huge benefit to travelers. So I love that you're able to give that little teaser for us. So thank you for that. But going in that direction, where do you see the main challenges? I mean, that it sounds like it's a whole new aspect of the business, but where do you see the challenges coming from? Or are you confident that the challenges you've already overcome will play a huge hand here?
Yeah. So I do believe that we're going to see quite new challenges because we have not been working so closely with the traveler before. This opens a new avenue of possibilities, but also of maybe even unexpected things. We will need to study a bit more closely how the traveler is interacting with our applications. We provide training to merchants when they use our issuing solutions, so we have more control over how they are being used. For the traveler, we we are handling the solution to them and hoping or that they will uh, let's say use it in a way that we plan. But of course, this will be, I think, a very interesting path of discovery, seeing how each and every traveler is going to use it. I think, like with every technology which is quite new, we're going to be experiencing a new surprising things. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to that user experience a lot then in that case as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. We haven't been doing much of the, uh, let's say, approaches with the identity verification using facial recognition. This is fairly new technology
Mhm.
altogether. We see it in the modern devices that are equipped with the particular technology built into the hardware. What we're going to be relying on is the software solutions here, and we're very curious to see how this will prove its worth in the real world.
Yeah, it does sound like that's the next level of security when it comes to when you're dealing with individuals and customers and travelers, and when ID documents are involved. Certainly, the level of fraud on this area has gone up. So having that authentication almost seems like a necessary step. So I love that you're mentioning that as well. Um, so I guess as kind of a final note and a way to wrap up the conversation today, I'd love to open the floor to you for a little while to give you a chance to share some of the feedback, the comments that you've had from your vendors that you worked with. I'd be super curious to hear what they're saying it actually is like to use the solution.
Mhm. So the feedback we've had so far was that the solution was a big convenience for them, and actually even the experience that the travelers had that they then share with the vendor was they were quite happy to see that the vendors were using this technology. They feel more confident, I think. Using this type of document scanning rather than the traditional forms of scanning or manual entry. We've had very few issues at the infancy of the implementation, which have very quickly been resolved. So we've built a very robust product, and we're rolling it out to the merchants. I think everybody is quite happy. I guess in the last year we haven't had so many chances to use it, unfortunately, because of the lack of traveling. But we're looking forward to actually seeing now again an increase. So it will be like a bit of a fresh start. Now that we're with the holiday season coming soon, hopefully we will see more travelers and more use cases there and more experience.
Yeah, I think it's about to go from nothing to something significant very, very quickly. But on
That's
that
our
note, I guess when all these people are coming to use the solution all at once, how does that affect your team? I'm just curious on, is everyone kind of standing, waiting for something to happen? Or again, do you kind of trust what you've built and you have the confidence in the product and the way it's been used in the past?
Mhm. So we're quite confident with the product right now. As we have not rolled it out to most of our merchants, we still have it used at the, let's say, select locations
Mhm.
only. We are not too worried about the massive volumes that will come and flood our merchants, and that we will not be able to manage the traffic. we're looking forward to actually seeing as many of the travelers as possible. And with the business coming back, we will be also more confident rolling it to more stores, putting in more solutions. Because yeah, it's important for us that the technology is being used on the market, which is unfortunately what we haven't seen in such great volumes over the last year.
Right. I think it's certainly going to be used very quickly. I know travel's already picking up as vaccinations start to become quicker and quicker. So I'm sure you'll get that test, that wish very, very quickly. But it is an absolutely wonderful product and it's a great use case. We're certainly proud to be a part of it with you. And thank you so much for that partnership over the past years. And thank you so much for today for all this insight. Really, really good information that I think a lot of those listening will be able to take away. From the traveler side, I think a lot of people are looking forward to using this kind of solution, especially once they can have it in their own pockets. But certainly for now, dealing with the vendors to have that level of confidence that everything is being digitized for the betterment of everyone, for speed, for experience overall. So again, a really amazing success story. Thank you so much for everything on it. And thank you for today. We certainly look forward to the future and all the projects you mentioned. But yeah, amazing conversation. So thank you so much. Before we wrap, any final notes from your end that you'd love to share?
I think for me, the most interesting part will be when we really put this technology in the hands of travelers.
Mm-hmm.
This is the ultimate test, and that's where we're going to see how this all really is standing to the test of use in the most unpredictable environment, which is basically when you let human tinker with it. So it's maybe more of my personal nature, but I'm very much looking forward to discovering how this will fare. And I'm very happy that we are going to see it quite soon.
Yeah.
And I think I'm also looking forward to continuing the relationship. Anyline, so far we've had a great experience, and yeah, looking
Excellent.
forward to the next months and years.
Absolutely. Much more to come from both of us. I love that you're ready for the challenge. I think that just shows the confidence you have in the product, but willing to see what comes once it's in the hand of the everyday user. So I love that you're really open to that challenge and open to that new experience. So again, Adam, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate the insights and best of luck over the holiday season here. Hopefully everything goes well, and we're obviously right beside you for the whole thing. So best of luck.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you. And for everyone watching this episode, thank you so much for joining me and Adam for this lovely discussion. Hopefully plenty of information for you to take away. I know I certainly have learned a lot just putting this conversation together and going through it today. Hopefully those of you who are in the industry, hopefully you've been taking some notes. If you did want to ask any questions or add anything to the conversation, we certainly would welcome that. You can reach out to Adam or myself on LinkedIn. I'll put those links just in the description of this video. Or of course, you can go ahead and comment on the video. Anything you'd like to ask or add to the conversation, we'll be there to address them accordingly. So until the very next episode of Anyline Anytime, thank you guys all so much for being here. Thank you from wherever in the world you may be. And as always, we'll catch you on the next episode. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you soon.